breast, and the green and white upon my chest. It's such a joy for us to see, 'cause they play football the Celtic way.
Hello, good evening and welcome to this is the first live edition of Terrace TV TikTok podcast. Absolutely fantastic there. We intro for We Frames, who sponsor the show. Thank you very much to Michael. And a guest we've got tonight is none other than JP for the Celtic Unrestricted View podcast. JP, thank you very much. How are we?
I'm very well. Thank you very much for having me. I'm actually quite honoured that I'm here doing the first live podcast that you're doing. So yeah, pleasure.
That's it, mate. It was a wee bit different. I just thought let's go for it. With everything else that's happening in the world and going on in our realms of Celtic football, but why not just go for it tonight and just see what's happening? Know what I mean? See if we can get some interaction. So, let's do it, mate. So this wee podcast is a wee bit different for you. You ultimately talk about the happenings, the going-ons, and what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is a wee journey through the years of you being a Celtic fan, and basically just enjoying your ride. You know what I mean? Well, we've got somebody in right away again. There's a wee hi, Toby and JP.
That's actually one of our regular commenters from our channel. So obviously I've brought the crowd with me tonight as well, mate.
Brilliant. That's what it's all about, mate. That's what it's all about. So thanks very much for coming in. So JP, without further ado, mate, how did it all begin for you? How did you become a Celtic fan?
Well, I became a Celtic fan. Celtic actually wasn't my introduction into football. So when I was a young boy, I think I was about 4, maybe 5. I do quite remember this. My dad used to have a big mate he worked with back in the day who played for Partick Thistle. So the guy's name was Paul Marr, and Paul got my dad tickets to go to one of the games, and my dad took me, but way back in the day, Toby, it was the old Terrace and there wasn't any seats. So my earliest memory was just running about like a maniac up down the Terrace, and my dad says I had no interest in football whatsoever. But it's my first memory of ever being round a football pitch and knowing what the football pitch was all about and everything else. So that's my wee small introduction to obviously football. It wasn't Celtic, believe it or not. But again, it was through my dad and one of my mum's brothers, Jerry. They were really big influences on me when I was young, mate. And it wasn't really a choice. I didn't get to pick for Celtic and the other team across the water. I didn't get that. Well, no rain, the old Rangers that used to be there. I never got a choice. I got handed a Celtic strip for one of my birthdays, my Christmas. And my dad just continued that right through. Every new tap, I got it on the day it came out. Just, there we go. And then my very first memory, Toby, I got into Celtic Park, was absolutely unbelievable, man. Celtic played Aberdeen, we won 3-0. And Paul McStay. Now, for anybody that knows me for your channel, I love Paul McStay. Right, he's the reason I started getting into football, and he's the reason I started playing football. Now, I tried to model my game on Paul McStay. I know if my dad's watching and he's probably saying to himself, what the fuck happened to you? But I done all right. I done no too bad. But Paul McStay's my hero. Absolutely my hero. And he's the reason why I love Celtic. And for me, he's the greatest ever, Toby. Honestly, people talk about Larson, they talk about this one and that, but the maestro was unbelievable. See, watching him as a young boy, mate. And then my dad took me into the jungle when I was wee. That just, right away, mate, it just gripped a hold of me, and here we are.
Brilliant, mate, brilliant. That's good. We'll touch on Paul later on, the maestro himself, but so your earliest memory, obviously, that football wasn't really Celtic, but then your earliest memory of Celtic would be Paul McStay, and that's how you love him and you get involved in it. What did it mean growing up, JP, in your area and your house, not being a Celtic fan? Was it hard? Was it hard in your scheme? Because, I mean, I grew up in East End of Glasgow, same as yourself, but I stayed in a predominantly Rangers area. You know what I mean? So how was it for you?
Well, as you know, mate, I think it's pretty well known that we do live in a Protestant style country. We live in an environment that's predominantly more Protestant than anything. Obviously, with a name like JP, mate, as you can imagine, I grew up. I went to a Catholic school, so there was 2 schools right across the road from one another. Half of them absolutely loved you, half of them absolutely hated you. And I played for a football team for the school and all, so obviously I could run then, but I wasn't that fast. I wasn't running about 500 on the other side, that's for sure. So I used to always try and get picked up with my dad and that, and hopefully he'd be finished work early enough to come and get us, but sometimes that didn't happen. But it was, it was tough, mate, because when you're growing up, and I'm the same as you, mate, I'm an East End guy, so when you're growing up in that sort of environment, mate, you need to be careful. I had to change my name in certain places where I went to, mate. I was changing my name to Brian.
PG. PG is the JP.
They thought I was out of the PG and Duncan. That's what they thought. They thought I was Ant and Dick. Yeah, as the question says here, I do. I've got plenty of friends that support the other side, and I've not heard from them the last couple of days, mind you. But I've not heard from them at all. But
maybe the Barties are doing it. Same with a few of my mates. Maybe they're on the Ring network. You know what I mean?
Aye, I text a couple of them a day saying, "What's up your Bluetooth?"
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, so see when you were at school, did you ever get into trouble for being a Celtic fan? Some of my mates, Wayne's and new man, are horrendous. There's a cut. I'm not even going to name them, but in fact, I'm going to name one. We share, right? So he's pretty outspoken and all that, but his teacher loves him. He's Miss Boyle's the name of the teacher. She loves the fact. Well, he's moved on. He's very secondary now, but when he was at his primary, he used to get into so much trouble. And she used to always say to me, "You need to have a word with Shay," because she knew it was my mate's wee boy. You know what I mean? I was like, oh my God, brilliant. But mental. Evening will come in, Ryan, as well. It's good to see some people in the chat. But I wasn't really getting into trouble at school through football. It was more just up to no good. But what about yourself? Did Celtic ever get you into any trouble or any sticky situations?
Aye, well, I mean, because of my name, having a name like John Paul, obviously everybody knows me as JP. Right away, I get picked on my teachers, believe it or not. And my dad was adamant that's the reason, because his name was John Paul and they didn't like him. And I used to get labelled a troublemaker. When I wasn't really, I was just, what was happening was I was getting blamed for certain things in the class, and then the teacher would no listen to my side of the review, listen to the class's side of the review and say, well, they all must be right and he must be wrong. So it was like I was getting singled out in a way, if that makes sense. Right. So it was pretty tough when you think back to that, because some of your mates would be laughing because they knew that, well, your pals, you think they're your pals, they're not really your pals, they're just numpties that just sit in your class and try and get you into trouble because of, whatever.
You want to do stuff.
Aye. But I always had that kind of nature. I was quite hyperactive when I was younger, Toby. And obviously, I wasn't allowed like things like fizzy juice, and my ma was always adamant, "You're not getting any ginger," and it's all that kind of crap, It's one of the ones. It's just the area you grow up in, mate. Once you hear about your name being John Paul, it's like, oh, he's right away. You're telling me he's one of them. Right away.
So there you go. In the chat's asking what parent chose the name JP.
That was my dad. So I'm named after my dad, which his name's John, and I've got an uncle named Paul, and his name, and that's where my dad got to John Paul for. So he put the two of them together.
But you'll get people that put 2 and 2 and come up with 5 and say you're called after Pope John Paul II.
Well, that's it. A lot of people, a lot of the other side that support the other side, they think that, they think that, right, that's the reason he's named after the Pope here.
Well, I'm John Derrick. So I'm Derrick after a guy who played football for that blue side up front. Derrick John.
Right, okay.
Well,
Right.
I'm that's my dad's name, but my dad was one of them, so it's mental. But I've bucked the trend, so
Is this the same guy that Big Chris Sutton retired off of Clyde One?
charlatan, aye, you're a charlatan, Derek. You're a charlatan. You're a cheerleader for all them, Derek.
Then he offered them tickets to the charity event. That was amazing.
Brilliant, man, brilliant. So, what stood out for you most when you were a youngster going to Celtic Park, and is it still the same to this day? Was it the noise, the atmosphere? Obviously, the ground's changed for that first time you went in. It was the old ground, I would imagine, and then now it's the stadium built.
My dad actually played football. One of my uncles was the head steward at Celtic for a long, long time. And he managed to get them access to play the very last game of football on the old Celtic Park before Fergus McCann changed it to the new stadium. So they actually played football in Celtic Park when it was the old Celtic Park, you know. Yeah. A lot of guys, like say young Ryan, he's been privileged for your channel. He's not seen that old stadium. He's probably seen photos of it, but he's never been in it. Just the actual feeling, Toby. Getting back to your question, mate. The actual feeling of walking in and you walk through that door and you can just feel that. It's just that energy that it's really unexplainable, mate. If you're not into football, you can't tell somebody how that feels till they actually go and feel it for themselves. That's how you get people all over travelling to see Celtic, and Celtic are worldwide because of, you know, the Celtic part's always been synonymous with an atmosphere, but you'll remember it yourself, Toby. The jungle was awesome, mate. I mean, the noise level that used to come out of there. I know, like, we've got the North Curve and the boys and stuff now, but I still don't think they're a patch on the jungle, if I'm being honest. I think the jungle was sensational.
The noise the other night when Dyson Mader scored that over his kick, that was similar. It was weekly. You know what I mean? Yeah. Coming out the jungle. And then the roll the other night when the Motherwell, when Kelechi actually scores against Motherwell, that sort of feeling, that's what I remember that when I was a wee guy, and see if you could bottle that up and pass it about the new man. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, mate. Aye. That's for me, and all the atmosphere. And I always remember as a wee guy, the jungle, the beer, which wasn't really beer, it was just piss. Don't stone that. That's somebody's beer. I'm like,
McEwen's exports got a taste it, by the way.
It's got steam coming off it. Stay out of that, you stupid jagged talk, you know what I mean? So you've said obviously Paul McStay was your first hero, right? Tell us a wee bit about why he was your hero, why you fell in love with him, and because I remember Paul McStay really well and all, mate. He was one of my, I idolised him as well, mate, and I was very fortunate to get to meet him. Well, I was showing you frames, getting to meet him at that point, and he spoke to me as well on the phone one time, and I was like starstruck, mate. And he was so humble and so graceful. But tell us about your love affair with Paul McStay.
Well, the very first time I seen him, as I said, Celtic played Aberdeen, and he was in the middle of the park. So I'd never seen a footballer play with such calmness and play the game at his own speed. Now, Paul was one of those players. He was a luxury to Celtic because he could speed the game up when it was needed, and he could slow it down when it was needed also. And just his feet, mate. His feet was unbelievable, man. I mean, the way he could transfer a ball from his right to his left and then vice versa. But he could do it in a way that it was just seamless. And his energy levels as well, Toby, before he got his really bad knee injury and stuff like that, before he started to really struggle, just his energy to get across the pitch. And then the relationship, obviously, him and Peter Grant even built together.
Aye.
When the communication levels, the football that Tommy Burns and had got them playing at the time as well, and then he showed now, in my opinion, Paul McStay was the right guy at the wrong time, because Celtic didn't have a lot of success under that time when he was there. In my opinion, I think Paul McStay should have had the same amount of winners' medals as Lexi Bruni and Callum McGregor, because he deserved that because of the talent, in my opinion. So, when you watch Paul McStay, mate, it's very hard not to be drawn to him straight away, you know, because he was just hugely talented. But what he could
very
also do
graceful
was
on the ball.
but he could really lift other people as well. So people had a pressure that they were in, Toby, that when they saw him play and they went, he's at it today. We need to sort of start raising your game.
Up the
Then you
game.
had guys like John Collins and the guys that he's played with through the years, mate, just for me, he was just unbelievable.
As you said there, mate, like, see that position we were in, we didn't win a lot, but you always had him in the middle of that pitch, doing what he was doing, and it was very hard for him to bring everybody up to his level.
Yeah.
But as you say, he managed to get people in their game, and Peter Grant, John Collins, I remember Pat McGinley, all these types of players coming in. I mean, he played with a whole host of players, Charlie Nicholas, Frank McAvenny.
Yep.
Man, I remember Jerry Creaney. I know maybe people in the chat might know him, but Jerry Creaney was, for me, one of these strikers I thought he's going to be amazing. But maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, just if it was actually before lockdown, and a taxi, Jerry Creaney's driving the taxi, man. I was like, my God. Know what I mean? Pure starstruck again. But Paul McStay for me, mate, is usually everything, all the attributes he had, absolutely fantastic. And no, what will always stick with me, mate, he throws his boots into the jungle because he's leaving. He was supposed to be going to Lazio. So he was, I'll never forget.
Was it not Juventus? I thought it was Juventus.
Juventus were in for him, but it was Lazio. Lazio was the name that everybody was touting, and he didn't. He knocked it back. He wanted to stay at Celtic, and you're like, amazing. And I'm glad he did, because then a couple of years later we go and we win the Scottish Cup. You know what I mean? Big pair scores and we beat Airdrie, and that gives Paul his trophy as a captain. And I totally agree with you, mate. He should have won a lot more silverware at Celtic when he was captain, because he was an absolute class player, and he's still a class act to this day, how he conducts himself in the circuit and just meeting people. He's very, very humble, very graceful, and he just, everything about him loves Celtic, mate. And it shows you that Willie Hockey's obviously using him as a front for the Celtic fans. Season ticket issue thing, where they're trying to buy shares. And Paul was over, he unfurled the flag at the start of this season.
Yep.
And he ended up staying here December. That's how long he stayed.
Right.
That's how we got. That's how I ended up. I got a chance to meet him and speak to him and all that, because he feels.
Has he still got his house? Has he still got a house here then?
He was staying with his friend, mate. He was staying with his friend Liam.
Right.
So he was. But he's got his boys are here. They run an academy.
Right.
So I think it's Maestro 8, something like that they're called. They've got one back in Australia as well. So they have. So I know. Listen, it's a sports agency as well. They do a lot of stuff, trying to get people into sports. So absolutely fantastic. We'll talk about Paul McStay there. So obviously behind me we've got strips, mate. Growing up, you got your strip. What was your you remember your first full kit you got?
Yeah, the very famous, obviously, the very first green and white hoops. I remember was a C.R. Smith. So it was. I always remember. For some reason, I don't remember McStay wearing it too much. I always remember Big Paul Elliott wearing it.
All right, so around about 92.
92, 90, aye. That was the first kind of proper kit I had. Right. And then, I mean, it's take a pick for them.
Like my first kit I got off of Santa. So I did, and it came in a box. It was called a replica. It came and it had sweatbands, shorts, socks, the tap, and it was in 3 wee bits. You can look at it. I wish I still had it.
Sounds like
Love Street 86 Love Street kit.
It sounds like something like a Dire Straits tribute band you were ready to put on there.
It was mental. The sweatbands were the same. It's just like this. That's why I've got this tattoo. It's a throwback to 86, man. But that was my first kit and all, mate. And I don't know why, but I just loved it. And it was, I'm an 88, mate. I'm 88. I'm always centenary stuff. So I'm any kit, because I've got obviously this one behind us here, the zipper. I love it. And then I can get for 88, I'll try and get. I've still got my 1988
Celtic tap I had that crest on it.
Would that be your centenary one? So Celtic 88, aye. But it's great growing up and watching the strips, and people say, but they never change. It's always green and white hoops. Well, unfortunately, that is my kit. What can you do with green and white hoops? You can't really. If you were to change that into stripes, man, people would go after nut. Know what I mean? Aye. So mental, but. We're talking about strips. Have you got any favourite kits? Is there any ones? Is there like a top 3 or ones that remind you? Well, we'll talk that. We'll talk. What's your favourite kit ever you can think of?
Best kit I've ever had, without a shadow of a doubt, is the yellow one. No, the one behind you. The one that was out before that. The NTL on it.
NTL. Aye.
It was the one
Larson.
we played. Remember the Larson, Big Sutton made his debut at Tannadice, I think, and he scored that
Larson
day.
was just back for the leg break, that one,
Larson was just back. Yep, that one's one of my favourites. The Bumblebee kit that Jules Cadetti and all that all wore. That was a great kit also. Paul played in that and all. So, that's a belter of a kit. And I wasn't fortunate to. Well, Ange, I've got to disagree because that's one of the favourite kits I've ever had. And the original Bumblebee kit that came out for us was frightening. I mean, I had the full kit, I had the top with shorts and the socks, and the socks were unbelievable, man. They were pure bright when they first came out. It was like a luminous. It was great. But no, one of the other kits was the black and green stripe.
Black
It was
Big Jan Vinegar.
No, it wasn't that one.
Anyway.
No, it was the one.
No?
Because the one I didn't get when I was younger. One I didn't get when I was younger. The C.R. Smith one, it was like it was like a black top with green stripes doing it. Then they brought it out again, kind of similar there.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely love it, mate. Love it.
Aye. I think I've still got that and all. No fit me.
I didn't like that. I didn't like that one with Brownie that way on the pink one. I didn't like that. That was nah. No, it's not Celtic tap.
I don't dislike taps, but I say I didn't like that. I wouldn't say I hated it. The one I always came out with the big Pierre wore it. It was like a silk. It was yellow, green coming in. A lot of people liked it.
It was like a cheese and onion top,
wasn't it? Aye, packet of Chris, that's it. But a lot of people liked it. But I wouldn't say I loved it. But I wouldn't really say I disliked the pink, same as yourself, mate. And that one, it's the camouflage one. I can't. It's like that greeny one. It's you can't really see it.
Aye.
Bit fluorescently in white, so I'm not really keen on that either. But I do try and keep my taps and keep them in good condition. But if I could fit back into my original 1988 one, I would do really well. I'd need to loaf about 4 of myself to fit in, you know what I mean?
I know.
So obviously, you're talking about Paul McStay. Is there anybody in the team that reminds you of Paul McStay? Or is there anybody since Paul McStay that you say he's a similar type player?
Callum McGregor.
Aye.
Callum McGregor.
What sort of a stick suit? Why is that? Is that his leadership or his qualities? Or?
Well, he's a different leader for Paul. Paul was a lot more timid and a lot more laid back. Paul wasn't as vocal as what Callum is. When you watch even you look at the warm-ups now, he's speaking to them all. He's telling them things. He's instructing them. He's like a coach on the pitch. Paul used to lead by example with the way he played. That was why that was the kind of leader he was. Paul wasn't as vocal as Callum. Paul was a bit more timid. But do you know the story about Philip for Bordeaux?
Aye,
oh my God, man. That's amazing. That's amazing. I'll tell you what, mate, that is one of the best things I've ever heard in my life. Now, obviously, we done a live event on our channel. We done a live event outside with the channel with Joe Miller. And Joe tells the story brilliant about the Morganetti. They all went out to Spain. And he turns into Philip for Bordeaux with a few jars in him. And man, I could just picture, because Jackie McNamara and that, they tell the story as well about him. You know? And they've never seen anything like this in your life. Gone for a guy who's really, really quiet, really timid, but with a couple of jars in him, he then turns into this guy, man. It's mental.
It just shows he's got a wee spot where he likes to just relax, and that's obviously his level. And you know what, he's probably in that mode because he doesn't drink a lot. He is a quiet person, and you know what, he's a consummate professional, mate. Because probably he was one of the guys who was super fit. You could see it, everything about him. And that's why he had such a long career until he got the bad injury. But I think that's hilarious listening to it, and I love listening to the stories as well, especially when. You know, like you can vision it, or you can say, I could see that being that guy. And when he doesn't, and he's probably says one of the guys, you know, he would tell you he's very open. Say, I'm quiet. His brother, even Willie, I've met Willie, been in Willie's company quite a few times. Yeah. Especially when he was the manager of Celtic Nation at Carlisle. Went down there a few times to watch the game and invited us in after it. Not just me, but the bus and all that into the club and
played against Willie's Celtic team a few times.
Aye. Tell us about that then. Tell us about your stint as a footballer then against him. Who were you playing with?
Dundee United.
Right.
So
Playing with the Oranges then. Playing with the Oranges.
you playing with the Oranges, aye. I tell you what, that was the only Oranges I was involved with. Helen Vale. So down at Helen Vale, a guy called Graham Livingston picked me and two of the boys in my school team, and we played there, and I didn't last too long, but I played a couple of games with. I got a really, really bad injury. I done my cruciate, my knee, and that was in a pre-season event, and that was me gubbed. And after that, it was came down the levels kind of thing, you know. So it was like, but I played against a few good players. I played against Big Stephen Pearson. I played against John Kennedy. Sean Maloney was only a boy, but I played against another boy. He was amazing. His name was Peter Flynn. What a player is, boy. He's a winger. Played for Celtic, played in the same team as Big Kennedy. But he just never made the grade to go and do the next thing with Celtic. I played with guys like Joe Thompson, played against Barry Nicholson and all. There's a few there, mate.
Good stuff, mate, good stuff. People always ask that and all. People go, oh, they just look at guys like us and think, never kicked a ball, never played anything in life. Know what I mean? I played in the same Glasgow Schools Select as Charlie Miller, and I will tell you, I've never seen a guy so confident on a ball. Just everything was so easy for him. He would just find you anywhere you were on the pitch. He would find you, and he's just that way. He didn't even break sweat. It could be bucketing a rain, man, and a bit of rain wouldn't even touch him. You're like, how's he coming off your bone dry? You're soaked to the bone in sweat. But listen, well, great, mate. And I know that's things like that will love you forever as well. But the memories and getting that opportunity.
Paul Hegarty was my coach.
Brilliant. Just So he played with Dundee United. He probably won. Did he win? Was he part of that team that won against Barcelona? Maybe. Probably.
He was under. He played under B Jim at the time. He was there. But they were crazy. I mean, when we used to go up, it was the old Tannadice, so it was not where it is now. It was further up next to where the Hilton Hotel and that used to be. It was the old one. We used to have to go down the stair to the gym hall and all that into it. It was amazing, man. It was really, really good. Obviously, through the football, my dad, he used to go to school with Tommy Burns. So I kind of grew a bond with Tommy and got to know him really well, became friends with Tommy through the years. And obviously we've had Jonathan Burns on our channel. I think Jonathan's just a bit young to maybe remember myself, but we had some really good times involved with football, man. It was brilliant, man.
Yes, they're just saying there. Obviously, too, Ryan JP was mates with the late Tommy Burns too. So
yes,
things like that. My story with Tommy Burns is I always remember we played Hibs at Ibrox in a semi-final, and it was went to a replay, and it was a Friday night game, and they got told the tickets we'd been selling on Saturday morning at Celtic Park when Tommy was the manager, and we turned up to get the tickets, and the ticket office wasn't open, and ended up telling a guy, I'm sure his name was George Douglas, to be honest, the head of security guy or something, whatever it was at the time. He said, well, why is the ticket in the office open if there's people in it? It was said it was to be open at 9:30, and he went and got it opened, and he came down, mate, bold as you like, a wee tea trolley. Right, do you want a wee cup of tea? You a wee woman in that cup of tea. It was brilliant. It was some man.
I tell you a wee story. Obviously, we'd played a school Scottish Cup final up at Rob Roy. So the week after it, we were at Celtic Park for the Player of the Year awards. Tommy Burns was giving out medals. So I won Player of the Year, I won Players Player of the Year for school. And I went up to do it and get 40s. It was 40s at the end of it. And Tommy says to my dad, by the way, I can't believe how deceiving he is. And my dad turned around and went, what do you mean? He went, he's fucking worse than he actually looks, by the way. It was tremendous, by the way. And he always sticks in me. He says, can you sing? And I went, what are you asking me that for? He says, because if you're in a dressing room, you need to be able to sing. Because if no, that's you humped. He's like, there's no way you'll survive. So he used to just say wee things and drop wee things in. Like, but he was what a guy, man. He was absolutely sensational.
Aye, brilliant, mate. He is. You know what? He's missed. He's not just missed on about Celtic Park, but he's missed across all quarters because when he was there, he made sure that the players attended Player of the Year events. He made sure that they went to social clubs, supporters clubs, and interacted with the fans. And he made sure that they stood out there and signed autographs because it's an honour and respect to fans. Hillary and Sleet and Snow, they'll always, and as they said it, they're there and they're always there and we always will be.
Aye.
But I love it, everything about it, mate. And I especially love my Burns night dinner as well because it's always a memory of Tommy, but it's never a haggis or anything like that. Always maybe a sausage salt or a black pudding.
Sausage salt. The closest thing to the haggis I have was a steak pie supper at the Chippy, man.
Aye, brilliant, mate. So, heroes, man, that is another hero. I know a lot of people will be Tommy's hero, but you've seen a lot of players earlier, I would imagine. Other than Paul McStay and Henrik Larsson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who would you say is up there as one of the best players you've seen?
With Celtic?
Aye, out with Henrik, obviously, and Paul, because Paul's your hero. Henrik's an easy one. Everybody always says Larsson, but out with them, who would you say is one of the best Celtic players you've ever seen?
Alan Thompson.
Tomo. What was
Frightening,
it about,
man.
What was it about him?
Oh, I mean, I just loved every. He played. He kind of. I was a wind up, so I just used to get in people's seeds and noise them all up and all that. And he just played the game exactly like. Apart from the ability wise, he was fucking much better than me. That's what I don't mean that. I just mean he played the game. He used to noise people up and get in people's seeds, and I loved that about him, man. And he had an absolute one day left peg, man. It was frightening.
He was, mate. No, I know. I'm just going to answer. I do like. Somebody said you're not a fan of haggis. No, I do like haggis, but I'm very your black pudding type when it comes to that stuff. But Alan Thompson, right, mate? I'll tell you a story about Tom. I was quite fortunate to go to John Hartson's first golf day, grabbed by the balls, and we paid £1,200 for a.
What a name, man, for a golf day.
I know. £1,200 we paid for the 4-ball, and you got to pick a player. So I looked at the sheet, Murdo McLeod, obviously Hartson was doing his own thing. It was McLeod, like Lennon, all these different players, even like Sally was there, so he was for the other side of the cut of him. You know what I mean? Alan Shearer, trying to think, Neil Ruddock, Ian Dowie for West Ham. Mate, the plethora of players, it was unbelievable, right? But I've looked down and I've clocked it. Alan Thompson, nobody beside it. Like James, Alan Thompson. He's like, nah, he's just been billeted for Celtic. Don't want him. He's fucked it. I'm like, no, I want Tomo. So I wrote it down, Alan Thompson. So he gets a call a couple of days before it and says, your 4-ball's here, you have to be at this time. You'll get assigned your player when you turn up. I went, who is it? Just tell us. He went, you've got Alan Thompson. I said, all right, were we his first pick? He said, you were the only pick. What? Nobody else wanted Alan Thompson. I was like, brilliant. Gets out on the golf course. Introduces myself and all that, gets to talk. My two mates are like that, and they fucking budgies, man. What happened? Tell us about this, tell us about that game, tell us about this game. I'm like, we're going to miss our tea half time here for fuck's sake. Let's get the ball, let's get walking and talking. So, hit the ball, we've got to the second hole, and he says to me, what ball are you playing me? I said, a Titleist 2 or something. He says, like, I'm going to throw the balls up in the air. Whatever two land closest, that's who I'm playing with my team. They're like, no bother. She's got the balls like that, and he looks and goes, throws the balls like that. Your 2 balls go that way. Your 2 balls go that way. Like, who's got who? I said, no, I've got this fella. I've got Toby. So he plays me, and he's like, ask me anything. I said, what do you do then when you're not playing football? What is it you're doing now? I've asked him all these other questions about life.
Aye.
Just talking along, and then he went, you know what I asked him about Celtic? I said, aye, how did it feel to score that goal when you cut into the left-hand side, took the underside of the bar, and the ball went in, and we beat Rangers at Parkhead? He went, it's fucking brilliant. I said, it was. But I said, but see, for the 20 minutes before it, you were fucking shite. And he's like, what? I went, I was getting you tight. Get this, do that. And he went, aye, and it's karma. It comes back to bite you. So it was great all the way through it, mate. Brilliant. And because I wasn't really prying about what happened, he started tell me wee things that it was days, he says, and now I can say it because it's obviously, he was coming into days in training and giving the young boys his keys, his motor, going buy this, go and get me that. They shouldn't have been driving his car, know what I mean, and all that. And he was coming in half cut and but I've met him a few times since it, mate. He's absolutely a fantastic guy, so much time for people. And he gave me his phone number to to keep in touch. And I was like, no bother. So I saved it under Alan Thompson. So I did Alan Thompson. And my wee mate John McGowan bumped into me at Battlefield, and he says, "Can I get a picture, Tom?" He says, "Aye." He says, "Well, Alan Thompson." He said, "Who's Alan Thompson?" He says, "That's what my mate's got you on the phone." So John showed him my picture. He went, "Oh, that's the big guy told me for the golf." I remember, he was brilliant. So I met him in Vegas, mate. I went to Vegas last year for the convention with my missus, and he was there, and I bumped us goes up. I says, "Tom, how you doing, mate?" He's like, "How do I know you?" I said, "I played golf with you about 10, 15 years ago, whatever it was." And he went, "All right, aye, how are you getting on?" "Aye, all right." So but down for breakfast next morning, he's shouting his ear, "Come and get breakfast with us." I'm like, no, you'll get your own time. But I thought, as a player, mate, he was outstanding. And my favourite memory of him is Liverpool, mate, when he scored the goal underneath the wall.
My God, man. What a goal.
Europe, the volley in Europe and all his own side. I think it was Barcelona, I think it was against, where he was right in the box, his side fitted it. But the one against Liverpool will always live long in my memory, where he runs away and he's slapping his boots. And I'm like, he's wearing a pair of Reebok boots, man. They're pure Snyders. No, I mean, that's what I'm thinking to myself when I'm watching it back. He was just
such a humble guy as well.
Loved it, mate. And know what? When he left Celtic, he said that he messed it big time. But he was very fortunate to get back into football with Newcastle. So he was doing coaching there. But so Alan Thompson, mate. What?
I'll let you into a wee secret before we move on. He's been on our channel.
Aye.
He's been on the channel with us. He was on with me and Ryan, and we had a right good chat, and he was telling us some stories. And do you know the story about Big Sutton?
What about?
So Big Sutty, he used to have a thing about him being immaculate. So he was always coming in fucking immaculate. So Tom and a couple of the boys get one day where Sutton used to get his island done for. So one day Tom popped in before training, before they were all finishing training, because Big Sutty used to drop his island off, then go back after training to pick it up. Because on a Tuesday he used to go for an Italian meal up at Newton Mearns. They all used to socialise together. So Big Sutty's trousers are in this fucking dry cleaners. So Tom was walked in, he's gave a lassie a score. He went, "Here, there's a favour, put a crease in the trousers for me." So the neighbour says she's fucking ironed a crease. Big Sutty's come into the restaurant, and all the boys are like, "Look at the state of you, you've got a crease here." And big man, you're meant to be immaculate, come on. Right away, he's right. Big Sutty, he's known who this was, he's known what happened, and he's right, he's been like, "That's up." I've got two stories. This one I'll tell you first. So this one, so that's fine. So it was a couple of days later. Tom was running late. He's fucking heads all over the place, and he's like, "Right, where's my fucking car keys? Where's my wallet and stuff?" They were all going to meet for some sort of lunch for one of the boys' birthdays. And Tom was like, "Fuck, I need petrol." So he said to nip into the garage. He's went into the garage, man. He said he's waiting on this big queue. He's filled his car up and he's went in. It was before you could like do the pie your pump and stuff like that. You can do it now, but you couldn't do it then. So he's in the garage, and the next minute he's waiting in this queue. And he said it's fucking littered. It's deep, about 6 behind us, lads. And he's like, honestly, he said right behind me there's this big stunning blonde woman. And he's like, I'm fucking standing at the queue, and the next minute it's my turn. So the guys went like that, it's 30 quid or whatever it is. So Tom was waiting into his wallet. Next minute, man, a big horn for a pubic hair just fell onto the guy's counter. So Sutton had obviously left a wee present from him, and for when he get the shower out to fucking leave it in his wallet, and left him standing in a petrol station. And he's like, I couldn't even say it to him. He says, because I knew what it was for. But I mean that. Some of that, you can't do stuff like that now. Do you know what I mean? I mean, some of that,
mate.
They were crazy. But see that side of it, Toby, I miss that about the dressing room, mate. I really miss being in the dressing rooms and being around that, because some of the stuff we used to have. Mate, we used to get in the boot room on a Friday and turn the lights off. We'd all fucking roll soaps up, man, and just batter fuck out of one another with them, man. It was incredible. Swear to God, like, we'd be flinging medicine balls at one another with the lights off, going, duck. So we'd be like, let's get going.
Wrecking ball.
Everybody duck. The balls are all bouncing off walls and coming back at every angle. Oh my God, you're leaving me. and bust noses and bust mouths, and everybody's got a sore head and everybody's like that. Like, what's going on? But another story, quick story with Tomo. Celtic used to go to Ireland every season, pre-season. They used to get to Ireland when Martin O'Neill was there the first time. So they went to this place, this hotel, and I can't remember whereabouts in Ireland it was. Just say it was Cork. And they're in a hotel, and they're all having a bevy. There's no game. They're all downtime. They've went together just to show face. I think they were playing a game in a couple of days' time, like a wee kind of friendly match against one of the local sides. So they're all having a bit of downtime, having a swallow and that. So it's got to a point where Tomo's hungry. So Tomo's went, "Do you do sandwiches at the bar, at the hotel?" Aye. So she's like that, no bother. He's like, "Room 321. There you go." He's like, "Room 321. There you go." So every fucking round that was happening, it was going on to room 321, right? So he's like, "No bother." So they're all coming down, they're checking out the hotel to go and play this team, like the next afternoon or whatever it is, wherever they're going. So they've come down the stair. So the players have come down the stair and they're all checking out their rooms there, the numbers, blah, blah, blah. So Martin O'Neill's came down. And then John Robertson and Wally's came down behind them. And they're just going through the rooms. Room 321. Yeah. Hold on a minute. It's John Robertson's room, innit? So he's well like that. How the fuck's my bill 385 quid? So Tomo's put all the bill on John Robertson's room. So John Robertson's like that. And right away, he sees Tomo sitting on the bus like that. And he's like, "That's that bastard Tomo. I'm going to get him. He's for it." Don't get me wrong, I mean, he gave him the money and stuff like that, but just, I mean, that sort of, see that character, Toby, that deviousness, and I just loved that about him, mate. I just thought he was brilliant, and it's kind of very similar to me when I played football, because I was just a wind-up. I used to try and especially the opposition, I used to try and get in their heads and try and drop wee things in to put them after game, mate, so that obviously you could try and win the game. So, Tomo definitely is one of my favourites, mate.
As you said, mate, that's missed in football now, like they carry on the winding up and all that. The young boys getting treated. Yeah. I mean, that squad for Celtic at that time were good at winding it up. And you hear that for all the different boys, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's football's the same at every level, because, I mean, I played Sunday football and on. Some of the things used to happen in the news was unbelievable. Guys would be come in looking for their shoes or their boots. They're stuck to the ceiling with a nail gun and things like that, you know what I mean? They're like, my shoes, they're not there. Or they do that to put their socks on and their no toes in the socks, they've cut them off. All these daft things, you know what I mean? But madness. But obviously that Tomo's, you're saying, they're obviously a player there, but if there was one player you could bring back in any guise or form for Celtic to put into this team, who would it be, mate? Who would, apart from Paul McStay and Larson, right? Because they're the ones, that's your hero, because it's always your hero and the most and easiest one to pick out. All the players early years, and it doesn't even need to be a Celtic player, just any player, in fact, that you think I would like to have seen him playing for Celtic right now, if you could bring her back.
I'm kind of torn between a couple. Gary Hooper.
Hoops. His goals were good, wasn't he? He's playing mate. All that as well. And he was still playing until last season, wasn't it? I think that's when he didn't get another club and he decided to chuck it.
Toby, this is a guy who, for me, flew under the radar and still does with what he actually achieved at Celtic, what he done at Celtic, because of, he wasn't that fancy name, he wasn't Spanish, he wasn't Argentinian, he was just Gary Hooper, and his nickname was Hoops. But what a striker he was for Celtic, Toby. And I only picked him, mate, because this Celtic team this season have kind of lacked a bit of firepower. So if we could have brought somebody back, it would have been him. But I could run through a wee list, a few. I mean, Arthur Boric as well. He's another one.
Aye, Boric definitely. There's just somebody in there, free there is actually a new podcast. It's just about a wee journey. Let's talk about what's happening as in us growing up watching Celtic and finding out Celtic players and that, mate. So it is a new wee podcast, buddy. But Nakamura for me and all, mate. Some of the goals he scored were unbelievable. And just to see him back at Celtic Park the other month was just phenomenal.
That was it, that, mate. He scored against Man United, man. That was unbelievable. That's the best thing I've ever seen at Parkhead, mate.
Aye, it was. Mate, no, he just didn't do that one time against him. He done it down there, to make sure that they knew how good he was. Know what I mean?
know.
So, absolutely fantastic. I think as well, growing up, we were quite. I think me and you have been probably spoiled, mate. We have quite a good number of players, like flair players. Know what I mean? Probably the same type of players, thinking about the same players in teams and that. I would love to have seen Nakamura for a bit longer. I'd love to have got a wee bit more out of Lubo, a couple of years earlier. Or he was a wee couple of years younger when he came to us, because he was fantastic.
Yep.
He was another left foot, right foot, could turn you inside out. But absolutely fantastic, mate.
Chris Commons as well.
Commons burst onto the scene, didn't he? Absolutely fantastic. Went a big, massive run of games. He was pure brilliant. And then under Ronnie Dyle, I went backward and then started falling. We always remember that night in Europe where he's shouting and bawling at the dugout. But no, what? He was probably shouting and bawling at the dugout the exact same as what everyone else were shouting and bawling, and all we're all going after not. Because passion, guys understand it. Guys understand it. Know what I mean? They come in and they get that passion and they just shout and bawl, mate. Know what I mean? And low shit. We're talking about players there, mate. So I always ask somebody as well, when you're looking at a player, you're looking at a strip, for instance. This strip here, right, the Terrace one. Who do you see in that? Who do you see in that strip? What's the first player that springs to mind in that strip?
Gary Hooper.
So then the green one, who's that? Who would that be?
Scott McDonald.
And then obviously our yellow one.
Didier Agat.
So that's it. So strips and sponsors automatically batter you into somebody. Know what I mean? And I get that as well. You think to yourself, how can it be that I've got a specific player with a specific strip? It's mad. That is mad.
It's crazy.
Unfortunately, that's how the mind works. And you see, as soon as you see somebody and you go, that's him, know what I mean?
I've just seen Ryan's comment, David Fernandez, aye. But that's a kind of private joke that obviously I understand where Ryan's coming from there. That's tremendous, by the way. But aye, no, definitely. David Fernandez.
See what he said it? I remember it, I know, mate. I remember it, I know. But, aye, fantastic, mate. So I'm trying to think. Like, so what age are you? Many. Well, no. What many titles do you think you've seen Celtic win?
I'll just tell you, mate. I'm 42, mate.
Right, not that 40. So out of that, the last 20 years, we've had it so good, mate. Right. What one would you say, including if we win this weekend, with this? Well, take this one out. What has been your best title win up to now? You've been party. You've seen
the Invincible treble.
Aye.
Oh man!
What was it about that? Was it because we were invincible, because nobody could touch us football?
No, it wasn't even. It was nothing to do with football. It was just that moment to Tom Rogic at Hampden, man. That was just that'll live forever with me, mate. And I've been telling you, I've got a son, and I've been telling him about it for the day he was born, and I've showed him it millions of times, and just time stopped when that was happening, mate. To go and score, what a goal that is, man. Unbelievable. You talk about big players with big character and creating big moments, and we're still seeing it to this day, because Annie actually done it the other night for us. So, but you know, it's been absolutely amazing watching this through the years, mate.
Mate, Tom Rogic for me, right? I can tell my so Paul McStay, Davy Provan was my first hero, right? I love Paul McStay as a player. And then
do you just like Davy's hair?
The perm.
He used to have that sort of flock of seagulls look about him, didn't he?
It was a perm and a mullet. It was mad. You know what I mean? Perm and a mullet at the same time.
He was an extra in the Rita Sue and Bob 2 movie, wasn't he?
We're having a gang bang, we're having a ball. Oh, tell her, son! All day up the veranda shouting about the IRA and all that.
By the way, he's a wee old guy in the veranda with a can of beer, isn't he?
Oh, man.
I remind that well.
After Paul McStay, I had a player that I really liked was called Paul Byrne, and I've been quite
Paul
fortunate
Byrne.
to have a good chat with Paul and all. Pretty good guy.
I don't mean to, by the way, I don't mean to be stealing your thunder tonight, Toby. You've done this a couple of times now. It just so happens to be Paul's been on your channel a couple of times as well.
Well, I'm not surprised because you've been gone for a long time. You do a good show and you put yourself out there. And
Paul's a great guy. And obviously, I'm really glad now that he's managed to recover from his health scare no long ago. He became a granddad now as well, so he's loving it.
That's it, mate. So, Paul Byrne and all. So, with the big hoops, that's what I always remember. He scored at Ibrox, doing like that. Loved it. Had the number 7 on as well, all these things. So, these things. And then had a wee period of time where I was like confused or lost. I was nearly really aimed at it. And then Andy Tom came onto the scene. And I absolutely loved Andy Tom, man. Even though we had the Canio, Cadet, Van Hooijdonk, Andy Tom was my man. Stuck with him, fit, I loved him, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. And then it was basically, Larson forever. It just felt as if it was Larson forever. You know what I mean? But when Big Tam Rogic came, mate, you can ask my pal Kevin. Big Tam was leaving. I was in bits. Had to get consoled. He's like, you're a grown man. I'm like, but mate, the only time I'd get out of that was when Larson in the cup final, we knew he was leaving. And I was greeting at that. But when Big Tam was leaving, it got to me big time, man. It's quite a wee bit emotional now talking about it, but I've got my yellow Celtic tap with Rogic in the back. I bought a West Brom tap when he went to Raymond and all that, and I just loved the guy, man. Absolutely loved him. I thought I know what it was. It was he didn't really get a chance at the start, and then he started coming on to games, and then he started working his way into the team. Then he was scoring big goals coming off the bench. And he was an impact.
A lot of people don't remember it, Toby, but he was farmed out on loan back to Australia as well.
Yep.
So he wasn't always what he ended up at Celtic. I mean, he's left a hero, but he wasn't always in the team. He wasn't at the beginning. He wasn't making a grade, mate, and there was a decision having to be getting made on him at one point when he was farmed back to Australia.
That's it, mate. And I know what it was. See, like his goals always meant something, right?
Aye.
He scored that one at Kilmarnock, and for the life of me, I don't know how, but one of the players volleyed the ball right into the crowd. Hot the guy next to us and have like, use that under the chair with it. Go to the house. Loved it. Man. Absolutely fantastic. Scored the one at Ibrox and broke the guy David Bates' foot at the exact same time. I'm like, hero, absolute legend.
Aye, that's right. He stepped on his foot at the same time.
Yep, aye. And then scoring the iconic goal at Hampden again. Bucket in the rain. Will live with every Celtic fan, I think, for a long, long time to come. His emotion and what it meant to every one of us when he's put that ball in the back of the net was just fantastic.
Aye.
But and then after, I always liked Bruni and all that and all, but I think Tam Rogic's probably, I've not had a player since he left, to be honest, to say that's my man. Know what I mean? Like, he's the main man for me in the team, or that's who my favourite player is.
So have you not even get somebody now, no?
No, I like the team. I probably out of the one that's still there, James Forrest.
Right.
So it would be James Forrest, mate, and that would probably be it. Know what I mean? So I can't really think any more than that. But other than that, some crackpots try to phone me, man. I'll do what he done. I hate that in the day. So what I'm going to jump on to now is your best European night. We spoke about Nakamura's free kick. Would it be that night? Would be your best European night?
No. The best European night I've ever had at Celtic Park was the 125th anniversary of the club, and we beat Barcelona. Oh, it was unbelievable, man.
Are you still dining it with Tony Watt, aye?
No, I'm not dining with Tony now, no. Tony's started making soaks now, so he's kind of patched me for that now, so I'm only kidding, but Tony's, I mean, at first everybody thought Tony was bursting onto the scene there, and he was flying hot. He was doing well, but just having that. I mean, I still remember the team, so I still remember the way the Celtic team was that night. We beat Barcelona with F.A. Ambrose in the team, by the way.
Aye.
We played Adam Matthews played at left back.
That was the wee Terrace, wasn't it? We're doing.
Aye.
The wee Terrace. Aye, that's right.
Yeah.
I've met Adam Matthews a few times. He's a cracking guy.
Can you remember who was up front? Gary Hooper wasn't there, he was injured. Can you not remember the striker?
No, it evades me. No, you need to tell me.
Big Miku.
Oh, Miku. Aye, well, listen, Miku scored at Dundee United, Tannadice, and ran right to us and jumped in. There's a video on YouTube of me, and he just jumped right into my phone, and I dropped the fling. I had to try to get the phone back. Know what I mean? My mates, that was happened. I said, I've dropped my phone after watching the squad score. Know what I mean? But, aye,
you got Miku screensaver and don't know how to get it off.
Right into the screen, man. But brilliant. So, other than that...
By the way, can you name the other Venezuelan who played for us?
Fernando Diaz Nealis.
Aye, that's it, mate. Aye. Diaz Nealis.
Aye.
He used to play with... Who was it he played with? Was it Crystal Palace he was with?
I think it was but he was there for Barcelona, I think, when we hung with them. We got a shot at him for a while.
Can you remember the game he played on? Who we played against?
Nah.
And that was at Celtic Park that night he played.
Positive it was midweek, wasn't it?
It was a midweek night, aye. The game was actually on Channel... It was televised on Channel 5. This is how long ago this was. Yes, it was televised on Channel 5.
You've got me. You've got me there.
It was
I remember being at it because I was sitting in the Rangers end. So it was
Bayern Munich. They played in red that night.
Right. I remember him because a lot of people are like, who is he? Fernando Diaz Nealis. He's going to do this, going to do that, but never actually came to much at all. So
another man that should have signed for us was the boy Charles Eduardo Corridon. No. French boy. Played Martin O'Neill's team. Played in the middle of the park for us.
Hold on a minute.
Big guy with an afro.
Is that no Philippe Bordeaux's mate?
It might have been, actually, by the way. It might have been his connections with Paul McStay, aye. But Charles Eduardo Corridon, he was a big, tall, he was black, he had an afro. He actually played for Paris Saint-Germain in his day, but Charles came with a hope to get a contract and didn't get signed. I was absolutely gutted on because I thought he was class. And he played against Spurs. We played a friendly against Spurs. And again, that was a midweek night, But he made other guys like De La Pena and, the boy Danny and stuff like that. We had him. There's Thomas Hitzelsberger as well. He came along as well. And there's been a few through the years. Eunice Coker. Remember Eunice Coker?
No, and just no made. I don't understand how they've not, because the players that played at a level, and you think they should basically get into your tean, but we've just no fans to them. Maybe they didn't fit our remit or our setup, didn't fit our style of play. That's the only thing you can say why maybe we've not got them.
Don't know. I mean, we had another boy I know, Alessandro Capone, Italian boy. I'm sure he went to America with him, and he never signed either. So, aye.
Many player under the radar, mate. Many player, isn't there? But moving on, mate, I would ask your favourite Derby Day memory. What's your favourite Derby Day memory? 6-2 or 5-1 or?
The 5-1 was amazing, man. That was, the Great Lake Philadono played in the game. I know it was, what a day that was. I know when we beat them, because that was nowhere near expected. That was right out of the blue. I remember the feeling of that. Lobo made his debut. Johan Mialbi made his Derby debut that day, and so did big Tony Warner. That was tremendous. Lobo scoring the 2 goals. The first goal goes in, he doesn't know what to do, man. He didn't even know what he'd done. He just stood in there like, that was a goal. What he's all doing. Aye. Then the second goal, he celebrated that a bit more because he realised what he was there doing, The 6-2 game was special, Toby. That was amazing, man. But you talk about take the game away for your team. Like, 12 minutes in, man, you're 3-0 up. Wow.
Aye.
Again, by the way, that's a Rangers team that won the league with 20-odd points a year before.
I know. I thought Bobby Petr was really good that game. Really good that game against him in the 6-2 game.
Yeah. I mean, Fernando Rickson, again, God rest him, but he get whipped off after that, didn't he?
Aye, he got inside out that many times. I didn't know why he was coming. He didn't know where he was coming or going. Know what I mean?
Aye.
But I would say the 6-2, 5-1 up there with mine and all. But also at Ibrox, we were in. It was Odsonne Edouard 3-2.
Oh, amazing, man!
He's cut in for the left hand side and scored. And I'll never forget. I'm standing on the stairs with my mate Mark Cahan. I said, "What is he doing? What's wrong with his on?" Because he was running like this, like a mad. While he was running with his arms out, and the Mark sat. I don't fucking. And the boys just went in the twos. I just looked at one and I just started jumping a bit mental.
Aye.
And we always talk about it. Say all we ever remember about that goal is us slagging Hudson Edward. And he's just nipped in and scored an absolute belter.
We went down to 10 men and I thought, here we go, this is curtains. But there was another game, my very first ever game at Ibrox, because my dad was quite, he was quite against me going to Ibrox. He wouldn't let me, he sort of tried to stop me every way he could have. Not that he wanted to, he just didn't want me going there because of how volatile it can be, how bad it was. So my very first derby, I gone to Ibrox and watching Celtic was we beat them 3-0. It was Derek Larsson nearly scored for the corner flag. Right. Sean Maloney made his debut that day.
Right.
Aye. That was my very first ever game to Ibrox. Then after that, I went to the one Magic Jarafsky scored the only goal of the game. I've been several times since, but that was the very first time I'd ever stepped foot in Ibrox. And do you know, I've 6 games now I've been to Ibrox and I've never seen Celtic lose.
Well, mate, continue. If you're not getting a ticket for the next one, let me know. I'll give mine up.
I'll give you a shout, mate. I'll give you a shout.
Brilliant, man, brilliant.
I'll give you a shout, but we've never lost. We've won every one of them.
All the years of watched, this is probably a hard one because there's been quite a lot of good. I could imagine what you're going to say, but there've been quite a lot of good teams. But what has been the most, or would you say, what is the best team you've watched in all the years you've been following Celtic?
Probably Martin O'Neill in the Seville season.
Aye. So I thought you might have said that. I thought you might have said.
And by the way, we didn't win anything.
I know. But we're going for everything and finished with nothing.
Yes, we didn't win a thing.
And that's, I would have gave people say to me, would you do Seville there again? I was like, aye. Would you change the result? And I was like, obviously you want to win it.
Mm-hmm.
But see the experience of going there with my 2 uncles, my cousin, and being there and being with all the, I met people I hadn't seen for left school. You know what I mean?
Aye.
My mate stayed in Benidorm. He was phoning me a couple of days before it going to bring me 2 bottles of bucky air and all these mad things and all these scenarios.
Aye.
And it was brilliant, but at the same time, it was disappointing because we didn't win. And I felt people say to you, I felt really sorry for Larsson because Larsson done everything in his power, man, to get that. You know what I mean? And then you hear stories about Rob Douglas wasn't supposed to be the goalkeeper. It was supposed to be the what was the boy? It was Wales at that time.
Magnus Hedman.
Hedman started throwing up, had nerves throwing up before the warm up. And they're like, right, you need to come out because you're no focused. You know what I mean? And then for the big sending off, it killed the game. You know what I mean? And it did leave a sore taste. But they time wasted for so long, man, during that game and all. But no, what? They were a team because they went and won the Champions League the following season, and they're the exact same team. So they were a side. And Marine were playing really well.
Remembering the game and all, but we played them, mate. We were better than them.
Aye.
We done them. We done them for physicality. We done them for flair, even in the pitch. I know we had guys like Deco and the boy Castilla. He was tremendous, by the way.
He was good. Castilla was really good.
Aye, he was a very good player. And obviously the boy Delay scored the 2 goals. But they had other aspects of our game that they weren't the Reporto that went on and won the Champions League at that point, in my opinion. Celtic got at them. Celtic had speed like a gat, and they didn't know how to live. No, a lot of teams did with him, by the way. And it was a bit similar to what Maeda is now. A lot of teams struggle with that guy's speed and his intensity and everything, but the game's different now because it's all about running more now. And back then it was more about letting the body work and having, but with guys like Lambert and Lennon, Toby, they were so clever on the ball, mate. Really, really clever. They just knew how to position young Petrov. And I was just gutted, mate, that Big Hartson couldn't have been a part of that because I think he would have, I do think he'd have caused absolutely anarchy with the 2 centre-backs that night because I think the two centre-backs, they struggled with Larsson's, just his movement on the goals. You can see that. The cracking goalkeeper, mate, Vitor Bayer.
Aye, he was good.
Goalie. Aye. Because everybody was kind of like, we got through just in the mare against Boa Vista, but they ran amok in their semi-final.
Aye, Porto were the team. Everybody thought they were just going to steamroll us, and I think, as you just said, everything you said, we did a really good count of ourselves. We played really good football.
Mhm.
We didn't get bullied. We didn't get bossed. We were doing a bit of that ourselves in good stages of the game, not just for bits and starts, but for a.
Do you know the story about
Tom?
Tomo that night as well?
No.
So he started the trouble. Remember the fight at half time?
Aye.
He was drinking a bottle of Lucozade Sport. He was walking off, and Mourinho was fucking ranting and raving about something. And Mourinho wasn't what he is now. He was younger, so and he was just starting. He was just starting to make the headlines and become the manager he became. But Tomo seen him whinging about something, and Tomo just decided, I'm fucking just going to you're copying this here and do as well like that, and squeeze Lucozade Sport all he's cooking, man. And like that, dry your eyes, mate. So everything all just went mental, but Tomo fucked off. He ran right into the tunnel and just ran right through. And he's waiting on all the boys are on a big scramass and what's going on. And he's waiting on all the boys coming in. McNamara's like, you're going to get us a doing. He's like, where are you? He's been away for ages. Fucking nearly second half's kicking off and you're all taking ages to get back in. Martin, he was raging, man. He was bearing because Tomo had ran away and he caused it all and he bolted.
Brilliant, man. That is it. We've got to do this wee bit what I call quick fire round. So basically, I just fire some wee questions to you and just want even a one-word answer or just as quick as you can.
Okay. All right.
So, one word to describe Celtic.
Love of my life.
One word.
Oh, one word, right? Okay.
Hope your missus are listening to you.
No. But they are a big, definitely. Amazing.
Player you'd love to have a pint with, sit down and have a pint with, past or present, played with Celtic.
Jimmy Johnson.
Best chant you've ever heard at a Celtic game?
The best chant? Does that mean somebody shouting something or?
Just best thing you've ever heard at a game.
I remember when it was the old Rangers, it wasn't even a song. I remember him, Danny.
Aye.
Briam and Danny. So there used to be where I used to sit in the main stand. I'm in the north stand now. So I used to sit in the main, just a couple of rows down for the press. So used to be an old guy. He's passed away now, obviously, a long time ago. And his name was Charlie. Amazing. What an old guy, man. He used to tell stories about meeting the Lisbon Lions and he was really good pals with Bobby Lennox and stuff. So I feel like between him and my dad, I feel as if I know every single one of the lines. And Jock Steen, by the way, with the stories that old Charlie and my dad both tell me about him. So you're thinking to yourself, right, here we go. So he's talking. So him, Danny, came there to take a throw in. It's just at the Celtic tunnel. Bearing in mind we're far back, so it's not as if him, Danny's going to hear him. Old Charlie's just out in nowhere. Him, Danny, do you think you're brilliant because you played in the European final? So did Rob Douglas and he's pish. It's the best thing I've ever heard in my life, man. But coming for an older guy and just he was really educated and all, so it really surprised all of us sitting in about him going, Charlie, you think he can hear you, man? I don't care. He's like, I don't like that guy. I've never liked that guy. Get him out of the stadium and all that he's saying, but that's probably the best thing I've ever heard.
Quality, man. What's your favourite goal you've ever seen?
Oh, Henrik's chip on Kloss.
And he's not megged.
He's not Big Betty. Big Betty. He's more taught him how to play football. By the way, he tells us. He tell everybody that in the presser. He's my taught him how to play football, and I can understand why.
I thought you were going to say there for a minute. He told you that on your podcast.
You'll find us on YouTube. If anybody doesn't believe me, that's even listening in. Bert Conterman, type it into YouTube. He tells everybody in a presser when he actually says it in the same presser, talking about Rangers, and he said we were shite. That's how he described how did you think he's played today? He went, we were shite. Then he goes on and tells a story about his ma teaching him to play football. That's how he got into football. It was his ma that taught him how to play football. And by the way, after that moment, I can understand why.
Aye. If you could relive one Celtic moment, what would it be?
If I could wind the clock back and go back, do you mean?
Yep. Aye. Relive it.
I would want to see Celtic winning the European Cup.
Aye.
So I would go back to 1967, the 25th of May.
I think quite a lot of people maybe want that. I would like to go back to my first game again, with what I know now, and relive that experience and see myself there and do that just to take it on, because I don't think I really appreciated that first time, because obviously, as I said to you, like, I'd went to a Blue game, I'd went to a St Mirren game. Football wasn't my thing. I went to Celtic and I said, "Aye, this is the team. This is what I want to do, and this is what I want it to be." But aye, madness. What makes Celtic, you think, different for any other club, mate? This is just a question in general. What makes Celtic different for any other club?
Fans be part of little Charlie. Definitely. You can go anywhere in the world, mate, and you'll never find a shout. You'll never hear a shout like that ever again at football. With that kind of older generation part of just that East End part of culture, knowing what it was all about and knowing exactly what he was going to say before he said it. Honestly, we were all buckled.
Mate, one of the funniest things I heard, I didn't realise it was funny until years later. When my cousin was talking about it, he said, "Do you remember the old?" I says, "Aye." So you had and a guy threw his shoe into the one side to the other. So they were singing one shoe, you've only got one shoe. But the boy came back with, "You thought you'd a Joe for life until your Timex ran out." And I was like that, and everybody was laughing, and I was like, I don't get it. I went to years later talking about it, and then I realised there was a factory in Dundee made watches that was called Timex. Right? And it obviously gets shut and they all get made redundant. And it was right at that period of time we were playing them, and that's why you said you thought you'd a Joe for life. Your Timex ran out, and I was like, I don't get that. Don't get it. But years later, I was like, I actually get it now, and we spoke about it. But you're obviously passing it generation to generation as your kids, as your Wayne's cousins, nephews, anybody underneath you in your family. Do you put Celtic into them? Do you give them the passion?
No, I don't. Well, no, the way my dad did by me, certainly not. My son's not really a big football. He's not really into football. Don't get me wrong. He's got the Celtic tops and stuff, but he's my boy's he's going to turn 8 in July, so my boy's still quite young for that as well. It's a different generation now, Toby, and a different way of thinking. I'm not saying that my dad kind of bullied me into this or anything. That's not what I'm trying to say here. I'm just trying to say I never got a choice. That's basically, I got handed a Celtic tap and I was told you're a Celtic fan. I'm not going to do that to him. I'm going to let him do his own thing, and if he comes across football, but listen, he sees me jumping about the house. He's seen me bouncing off every ball in here the other night when that penalty get good to us, and he's looking at me going, "What is wrong with you? Like, what is actually wrong with you? Like, seriously?" And like I say, Toby, Celtic is one of the clubs, mate, that if you're not into football, you just won't get it. As the comment says there, aye, sort of brainwashed to an extent. But by the way, I'll tell you something right now. If he's listening in, cool. If he's not, I'm pretty sure somebody will tell him this. But it's the only thing I can't pay back to my dad. It's the only debt I can't pay back to my dad for making me a Celtic fan. It's the greatest thing I've ever became, mate.
Brilliant, man. Brilliant. I can get what you're saying, with the wee man not being into football, and that happens to us. That does happen. There's loads of people out there don't find football until they're later in life. I mean, my daughter's only started going this season, man. Don't be getting wrong. It's cost me a fortune to try and get her and wee Martin tickets, boyfriend, you know what I mean? They just think I'm like Ticketmaster. Oh, sorry, my dad gets a ticket. Never bothered with football until about 2 seasons ago started. I think she maybe watched it but didn't really give me the grief or whatever, but I just came in one day and I walked into the street and I could hear that Liam McGrandles is belting out. I'm sure I need to talk to you about that. Liam is belting out and I'm saying, what's that? And then it's obviously coming from my house and I'm like, yeah, that turned down a bit, you crack Potter. I'm like, no, leave it on. You're actually putting something on I like. So
aye.
But I think it is, it's hard, and I know with this generation, it's very hard to get them into the football, into the games, because tickets are so hard to come by. There's a massive amount of people want to go to the games, and at any opportunity, at any chance, I can give my book to somebody else to go that doesn't get a chance to go. I will do that, and I've done it on numerous occasions. Even if I'm able to buy, if I can get a ticket and somebody, I'm not saying I'm running about and giving tickets here, left, right, and centre for nothing to people. But if it's genuine people I know, I'll say to my mate, listen, we could buy a ticket for him and his wedding, or her and their daughter, and things like that, and get my football, mate. Because it's very, very hard to get to see Celtic these days, mate. There's so many people clambering, and the amount of people who are charging over the odds for that game at the weekend there against Rangers, man, was unbelievable. It really does my head in. Can't be bothered with that. People charging over and above. So, but that's another thing totally in general, mate.
Yep.
So, JP, I just want to thank you, mate, for obviously coming on. But before we finish up, I just want to touch on the last 5 games we've played. Sorry, last four games, and then tomorrow's game. Before the split, what was your feeling? Your true gut feeling? And I'll tell you, mate, I thought it was going to be really, really hard. I didn't think we'd be in the position we're in the now going into tomorrow's game. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I think you know yourself, mate. I've been really, really vocal this season, and in terms of trying to stay with them and trying to. I believe in them, Toby. They've gave me, like you've just said earlier on tonight, the last 20 years been unbelievable, mate. So I've got no reason to doubt these guys, especially guys like Callum McGregor, who, I mean, these boys are now 11 years of age, mate. They're no wee guys. They've been around the block, mate. They've been here, they've won. This is why they've won what they've won. As Charlie Mulgrew says, mate, this isn't their first rodeo. And that's what he was saying about McInnes. Welcome to try to win a title, Dale. You've never been here before. So, of course, everybody's going to be against you. And I love it. I love every bit of the fact that everybody hates us. It makes me smile even more with things that are happening the other night. Honestly, Toby, I swear to God, I don't think I've had a Cheshire cat grin on me for days. It's been amazing, mate. Absolutely amazing. Looking at people all doom and gloom. And I know why they're all doom and gloom. And I'm like that, walking by them. All right, my man, how we doing? Giving them all smiles and everything, making sure they're all right, you know what I mean? But looking into split fixtures, mate, I was looking forward to it, mate. I just seen it and I went, yes, Hearts' last game of the season. That is going to be a beauty. And I just realised then, I went, the Scottish SFA and the league, whoever decides that, have played an absolute blinder because they've made that 2 teams who have been going at it all season. Celtic's been doing a lot of chasing right enough this season. Toby, I don't care that we've not played well all season, mate. I care about our results. I care about how we get the job done. And I've been caring about that all along. Since we get beat at Tannadice, mate, we've no lost. We've won every single game. And I have backed the team through thick and thin. And I've backed them all this season. Even when, the dark days and the clouds appeared when we unfortunately appointed Wilfred Nancy, which was a mistake for all parties, right? But the club only waited 33 days and they moved the guy on quickly and rectified the situation. And that's why we're in the situation we are now, Toby. We're now in this situation because of hard work, first and foremost, determination, and will to win, and know-how to win. These guys are winners, mate. So once you start doubting that, like you says earlier tonight, mate, karma's a bitch, mate.
I mean, see the thing that there was a point in Aberdeen when we played Aberdeen, I was like, midweek game it get cancelled, so I was heading up.
That's right, I remember
rescheduled one, couldn't make it, so I had to give my HP boy the ticket. And that's when it hit me. I'm like, we're struggling here big time. You know what I mean? And then it comes to the split and we're still in it. We've still got a chance, still got an opportunity. And then you think to yourself, just need to get past one game at a time, take one game at a time. And that's a big shout. You always say take one game at a time. But the thing is, for me, one game at a time is really hard.
That's the thing. I have been slated off through the season. People going, where are you coming up with that, Fage IP? Where there's a recent comment on our recent podcast. And when I say so the other night, you were in the comments yourself, and I'd say the other night about me being gutted. And I wouldn't be gutted if Celtic lost tomorrow. I lost the league tomorrow. People can't understand that. And I'll tell you exactly why. And I'm glad I'm on this platform to be able to do that. So it's competition. There's winners, there's losers. Sometimes you're going to win, sometimes you're going to lose. But what makes you a champion that we've been for many years is it's how you bounce back. It's how you react to that, how you come over adversity. Mate, we've already faced like 3 stages of adversity this season. First of all, our leader left us. Calls all the boys on the week, and then he does a midnight manoeuvre at the back door after Hearts beat us earlier in the season. So after that, I was like, right, hold on a minute. Martin O'Neill came in, mate, and he got in all our heads straight away. And he's like, these are good players. Don't let this situation grin you down. And it's been him that's been driving this all season, mate, if he's been here. So, aye, as I said, but the comment is right. I mean, I have took some end-up pelters, but listen, I'm a big boy, mate. I can handle that. Again, that makes me smile. I don't, that doesn't bother me, the fact that people are slating me, and it must annoy people that I'm giving out positivity. And it doesn't bother me. It really doesn't bother me, because, by the way, going with what I saw this season, somebody's got to.
Aye. But see, the thing is, mate, you've never wavered. You've always said what you've said, because it's no, people always say blind faith and all that. It's no, you've always thought what you thought, because that's how you believed it was going to be. And to get to this point in the season, mate, is so sweet. And people can say what they want about the other night. It's put to bed. It's done. There's nothing going to change what happened at Motherwell. But I mean, we won, and that's the main thing. And there'll be Celtic fans maybe watching us, or they'll be watching this back when I put it back on later on. They'll be watching this and thinking to themselves, I can't be dealing with this. And the nerves, and they're maybe not getting, they're maybe scared, that they're sitting in their house and now, and their backside's twitching because they're starting to feel it. I mean, it's going to be one of the games tomorrow where we turn up and we're going to be doing the same thing. So, have you got any pre-match superstitions is the question now. Have you got any pre-match superstitions? Is there something you're going to do? My mate's just popped into the chat. He knows what I'm going to say now, because he's very much phones me or texts me and says, you need to do that. You need to do that. And Mark, put it in the chat what you always tell me today, so I can put it on so JP can see it. But any superstitions, mate, when you go to the game?
I can actually see the comments at the side. I can actually see the comments coming in. So he's obviously said what he said there about his feeling. But again, this is probably going to play with people's heads. This is probably going to play with people's minds. Green Sannies. There you go.
So they stupid New Balance shoes. See the New Balance trainers that came out?
Uh-huh.
My missus bought us them. They were called my Hamden shoes, mate. Every time I wore it with Hamden, the New Balance, they won. Every time I wore them, they won. And when we came to the split, mate, I'm saying we need something here. We need something. They're the worst trainers in the world. They give me sore feet and everything, but we still, lockdown season, we still went to Hampden. Yeah. We walked to Hampden. We done the ritual and all that. We weren't even at the game. We went there, started out in the gear, same training zone, and straight back to Mark's house, watched the game and all that. But leading up to this split, I said, I need something. I need to do something here. So I've dug out the tap, yellow tap. I've dug out my Black Magic tap. And I'll put this on until we get beat. And the Black Magic one hasn't been beat yet. So the Black Magic one's stayed on. Right. I've got the same joggies on tomorrow. I've got the same trainers on tomorrow. My missus is like, there's something wrong with you. I'm like, don't change anything. If it's working, you don't change it.
You're not allowed to wash them, man. Just leave them in there on the dressing table. You're not allowed to wash them. Don't wash them.
Hung up. Aye. I told her I stopped washing myself taps. I know, because you wash them the wrong way you're in and all that. And the sponsor gets stingy.
You're the same as me. I don't allow MD to wash my Celtic taps, mate.
God, man, that's peeling off. You see that? See the Terrace, man? Setting that away to a guy. 23 quid to get a new tenant thing put on. It was brilliant. Came back I'm like, that's a different tap you sent me. Not checked for oil. Not still my tap. I'm like, that's brilliant, man. Aye, superstition, mate. Tomorrow, I'm upbeat tomorrow. I'm no fearful. I've not got any. I'm no hitting. Not normally what I would do on the night. I see like the night before a game like this, JP, and Matt will tell you, and other people you probably know. I don't know about you, but I would usually go and get hammered, mate, and fuck it. I would get up tomorrow like, oh, can't be bothered today. Can't I deal with this? Then that's when it hits in for me. I start getting para. But I've not got a fear tomorrow. I fear we're going to turn up. We're going to play. The crowd are going to be so important tomorrow. Every single person, a man, woman and child, I believe will play a part in this tomorrow. And I do believe there'll be a couple of sendings off tomorrow where it'll be 2 for them or 1 apiece. I do believe they're going to get and they're going to get stuck right in. But if we play the way we've played the last 4 games, I can't see nothing else apart from that big banner coming out saying they've turned the referees against us. You know what I mean? Did you see that today?
No, I've seen it, mate. That's tremendous. It was. I had a wee chuckle when I seen that earlier on the day. But no, listen. In terms of superstitions, mate, I've not really got any. When I played the game, I used to have one, so I used to be the last one out of the dressing room. And I would always put my tap on at the side of the park. I wouldn't put it on before we went up. And anytime
remember they told you had to stop that?
Aye. Aye, because the fashion police were coming to my games after that, and
you had to be stopped being last
I know. It was just my Celtic humour. I know what you're saying, but because there was people there, that was just my humour. I was only just adding a wee bit to that there. But aye,
looking for luckies.
Aye, looking for luckies, definitely. I was a wee guy in the corner flag. Used to show you a bit for a wee bit. No, a bit for a bit. That was on my sign, bit for a bit. So that was what it was. But no, in terms of Celtic games, mate, I've got a pair of green boxer shorts, and I always wear them on big games, and I've not lost one yet.
Brilliant.
If you would call that a superstition, I don't know.
Aye, listen, my mate used to play football with a pair of green paddy power pants. There was more holes in it than was needed. But he was like you. He's like, I need to wear them every game. I mean, you're like that. You'd be putting your 2 legs in and this other leg would appear. You know what I mean?
Aye. Try to give you 50% off your next bet.
Aye. So I'm not asking you for a prediction more because all it is a win, mate. And we've said this. Me and you have both said this. We don't care if Celtic win 1-0 with an OG.
Yeah.
In the last minute, hitting off somebody's backside and getting in, as long as we win. It might not be nice all the time, but at the end of the day, it's a results-driven business. And if we can get to the end of this season with another win tomorrow, we win that title. And that is it, mate. That is all that matters for us at this moment in time. It doesn't need to be nice tomorrow because see when it's done and dusted, the history books will say Celtic win another title, and that's all that matters to us. And hopefully that's what it will say. And I can't see how we can lose it, mate. We're going to be out. Everybody on that pitch is going to be getting 100%. And because you said earlier on, Callum McGregor, he's a leader. Know what I mean? You've got other guys in that pitch who play tomorrow, like your Alistair Johnson's played, knows what it takes to get a line. Kieran Tierney, they've been there. James Forrest coming off the bench. All these boys, and they're all hungry. You see it. They're all hungry to prove people right.
Engels has won a couple of things now as well with him.
Listen, Engels has come back there, and he's definitely been. For me, he's pushing his own that bit and he's giving you something different. And know what? For everybody who doubted us and said this is the worst Celtic side I've ever seen, we could finish the season with a double. And if the board didn't mess about mid-season with changing and chopping and left a guy in place, we could have probably been doing a treble. You know what I mean? We could still listen. We could still finish the season with 0, right? But I would rather be in a position where they knew being able to win 2 than win nothing. I mean,
well, I've said this all along, mate. We share a city with a team. Could you imagine being in a position they're in?
Well, we said that second place is last, but what is third place in? You know what I mean? You're never. You know what I mean?
No, 100%, mate. Absolutely.
I'll be up the Celtic way tomorrow about 9:30, 9:45 because the team's coming in at 10:30. We want everybody to be up there cheering the boys on, and then non-stop bickering and booing and harassing that mob if they're on the ball. Yeah, that's it. But I'm looking forward to it, mate. I'm looking forward to it big time.
I'm looking forward to it as well, Toby. I've not got any fears at all, mate. And again, this goes back to when I played the game, mate. I was so calm. I didn't have it last. I don't get nervous. I'm not that type of person. I played a lot of big games, mate. I played a lot. I'm not bumming myself or anything. I've got quite a few winners' medals and trophies and stuff. Probably my mum's got them and looking after them for me. But I've won things like the Scottish Cup before and at school level, so it's I've played a lot of meaningful games, mate. I've been there. I know it's not the same level as at Celtic, mate, but I know what it's like to face pressure. I know what it's like to sort of, you know, what pressure's all about. And the only thing I didn't get to do was play for Celtic properly.
Aye, but listen, we'll live that moment and we'll live that dream tomorrow, mate.
I'll be there tomorrow, and I'll be there tomorrow, and it'll be as if I'm playing for him. I'll tell you.
Aye, because every kick of the ball, every header of the ball, every tackle, you're in there, you're getting it that bit more.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it, mate. JP, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Thank you very much for coming on and giving us up your Friday night. Hopefully this time tomorrow, mate, we're Spafies are celebrating. We'll be exchanging messages throughout the day after that. One last thing, mate. I hope tomorrow when you go, you do not break that seat.
By the way, I knew you were going to bring that up tonight, by the way. So, to let everybody into a wee story, right? Everybody in the comments now go, that was Toby saying that to the IP for. Right, so, as everybody knows, obviously, last week was a Glasgow derby. And where I sat in the north stand, it got a bit animated. So there was quite a long period of the game where we were standing, and a lot of our, everybody was all standing up because Celtic were on crucial attacks and things were happening. So it was a couple of minutes before the Maeda overhead kick. Everybody's up on their feet because they all think something's. There was something there. You'll agree with me, Toby. There was something there, mate. That was when Taneki got the ball, mate. I knew something was ready to happen. I could feel it, mate. The way he gave Tavernier a merry dance.
So did that because I recorded that. I recorded it for my sake.
So that's what I'm saying. I knew something was about to happen. You could feel it, and I think everybody on about me did as well. So we all kind of stood up. So as we've all stood up, obviously everybody's all gone mental, and the goals happened, and the emotion that, like you says earlier tonight, Toby, the roar of the Celtic Park was tremendous. I can still hear it now in my ears. And then you turn around and everything calms down again, or the game's ready to start again, and I flicks the seat down to sit back down in my seat, and the seat just goes dying like that, right to the sort of flares. And I'm like, what's going on here? What's happened? So instantaneously, obviously, your first action is to try and get the steward and say, listen, because I'm looking round about going, there's no seats. There's nobody round about us, man. Like, where am I going to go here? And there's still another 10, 15 minutes of this game still to play. So I go to the steward, and thankfully, one of the guys, I don't know if he was a cleaner or he was a sort of head cleaner, he had a walkie-talkie. So he took my details and he took the name of the number of the seat and the row I was in. So he's went away. So obviously telling you about it after you were on the dial-in with us on Monday night. Toby's a very good man this way, folks. So Toby is well connected. If anybody, I've got it first hand. One of Toby's good mates does a job of fixing seats at Celtic Park. So thankfully for me, going in tomorrow, I've got a brand new seat. So aye, I'll be watching what I'm doing. I'm taking a cushion and all that to sit on so that I don't need to sit right down on it dead hard.
What he doesn't know is it's blue. The seat is blue.
Aye. It's blue. It's the only one at Celtic Park is blue. That's JP's.
Aye, so that's it, mate. So you'll be happy. You'll not be sitting much more there anyway.
No, I know.
Hopefully,
I know.
Hopefully. But, Andrew just said the other night, guys, thanks for the chat. Thanks for the chat. Different, very interesting. So it is, and it's good to just get a wee bit of difference as well. It's not what you know, it's who you know. There you go.
Aye, absolutely.
And that's it. But JP, thanks very much, mate. Thanks to everybody that's come in, left a comment, a like, a chat. It is appreciated. And if you want to come on and talk your wee story about Celtic, just hit us a wee DM and we'll get you on as well. But until tomorrow, hail, and hopefully this time tomorrow we're champions, JP.
Hail.
Thanks very much.
Everybody, thanks again. Cheers.
Catch you on the next one.
Bye-bye.
Leaf clover on my breast, and the green and white upon my chest. It's such a joy for us to see, 'cause the play football